Welcome once again to another fabulous episode of the Throne of Angels video blog. As always, I am your host, Mr. Derek Osborne, here to show you a world in miniature. So, longtime followers, I'm sure you're like, man, I thought you said you were going to try again in 2 weeks. Well, I got sidetracked. Well, how did I get sidetracked? I decided to completely rebuild the hobby room. As you can see behind me, different backdrop. We'll take a quick tour here in a few minutes. And quite honestly, today I'm filming at night. So you can turn off the lights and you can see all the cool stuff. But we'll get to that in a minute. What are we going to look at today? Well, we're going to look at my upcoming project for the launch of Age of Sigmar 3. But the models I ordered have not come in yet. So it's going to be kind of difficult to do that. Instead, we are going to look at something that was started by a group of us, me and a couple of friends. Man, it's been over a year, but unfortunately got put on hold because I had to pack up and move from Georgia to Kentucky. What that is, well, basically the SciFi Challenge. Oh, that sounds great, Oz. What the hell is a SciFi Challenge? Well, the SciFi Challenge, thanks for asking, by the way, is quite simply a painting challenge, right? We have, I think there's 4 of us total. Basically, we threw a pot of money together. It wasn't anything big. It was like $25 a person. It was just like a buy-in, right? Essentially, a miniature painting version of, I don't know, football draft or, soccer league or something. Anyways, game independent. Doesn't matter what game the challenge is for. We essentially set up categories, right? Units, characters, vehicles, walkers, or behemoths, so to speak, right? Something that doesn't fit in the vehicle category perfectly, but still could be considered a vehicle, or, like I said, in this case, a walker. Think Dreadnought or something similar. So I decided basically just to collect a bunch of the old models that I had from a couple of different places, throw them all together, and just basically build out a nice little army, right? Paint up something fun, something to put on a shelf, or something to use for a model agnostic game. Doesn't really matter. It was just something that I wanted to kind of have fun with. And that was the whole point, right? The whole point of the SciFi Painting Challenge is to have a good time with a few of your friends and challenge each other to get something done. So I've got a couple of units, I've got a couple of characters, I've got a couple of vehicles, still have some stuff to put together, and still have a few things to print, right? So I've got a bunch of STL files. I support a bunch of random sculptors on Patreon, and I figured I'd 3D print some walkers for this force. And I think today is the day that I'm going to essentially restart this challenge with the guys, because like I said, we took a break basically because I packed up my entire life, moved 2 states north, and I'm just now getting to a point where I'm unpacked and back to doing some hobby, and clearly back to doing some video. Right, so basically these videos, I'm going to do my best. I've got it on my calendar. I've got time scheduled out, everything blocked to make sure that I get regular content up every other week, right? So back to the see you in 2, like I used to do once upon a time ago. I've got it ironed out. My calendar is squared, and we should see some regular content. I know I've said that before and I've failed at it miserably, but like all things, that's, let's just say fine wine, they get better with age, right? So as the video blog matures, and it's, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 years old now. It sure has been around for a long time. I want to get standard regular content out. Some of that's going to be Age of Sigmar. I'm excited to get back into playing that with the 3rd edition release. We'll see how that goes. I've seen some mixed reviews so far, but the whole point for that one for me is just to have some fun. Nothing competitive, nothing, won't play in any tournaments or anything. Basically just run a bunch of narrative stuff around the old neighborhood with some friends. I've got Vanguard Kings of War coming up. I've got a guy at work that wants to play that, so I've talked another guy into looking at it. So I think we're going to run three 3 on that one. We might look at it, an older game, The Other Side by Weird Miniatures. You know, great concept. I like the rules for it. Never really took off in the hobby environment, but the models are still beautiful and everything's assembled. So all you do is basically pull it out of a box and you can play if you don't want to slap any paint on it. It's already done for you. Also looking at potentially Wild West Exodus again. One of the guys here local really likes the look and aesthetic for that game, so we might see a revisit to the old WWX land. What else do I got sitting around here? Oh, Mercs, of course, right? Obviously, Mercs will get played. You guys will see content from Mercs, but you know, that one is a little bit more personal because, well, it's mine. So that is a guarantee. You'll definitely see Mercs. You'll see some Mercs Recon as I unbuckle that closer towards the end of the year. Really start to unfold what's going to happen with Fifth Angel Studios, Miniature Building Authority, and Mercs as a whole. Right, got a lot of plans. Been spending the last couple of months really kind of putting everything, so to speak, on paper, getting everything ironed out. Have some new partners coming, have some new things going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. My light over here is just going nuts, so if you're seeing weird flashing, it's because, I don't know, maybe the battery's dying or something. But anyways, so first things first, let's take a quick tour of the new hobby center. There's a couple of things still quote-unquote missing, as I haven't found the right things that I want to put in place, but for the most part, it's about 95% done. It's kind of a good space. I'm feeling it. I'm grooving it. I like it. Helps me stay motivated because I enjoy being in here. On top of that, it helps me kind of settle into a creative mood because with the way the lights are set up, it actually really kind of just puts me in that zone. So maybe we'll talk about that one day. Then we'll take a look at the SciFi Challenge, and you guys can see really kind of a random project come together. This is part of the hobby for me that I really enjoy, sitting down and actually putting something together that doesn't make any sense. But again, you guys have all seen in the past, I really like to do themed armies and theme out. Doesn't matter what game I'm playing, the force that I'm putting on the table, right? There has to be some sort of interconnected tie-in for it really to work for me. This, since it's really for nothing specific, allows me to kind of go wild and just have some fun, right? I drew some inspiration from Avatar and some inspiration from Aliens and some inspiration from a couple of other things. Might talk about that a little bit when we take a look at the models. But today's episode should be pretty quick. However, like I said, it's now time to take a look at the new hobby space. Well, the door hasn't changed, but the hobby room has. So, big changes. Mainly, I think this would be the north side. Anyways, left side as you walk in. So we'll just come in here. And I'll do some panning, and the camera will get all mad and tell me I'm panning too fast. Yep, panning too fast. So, as you walk through the door, where we start with my G-Dub collection and a bunch of stuff on the floor, which is basically my vampire army. So, obviously my travel companion, if you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, that guy took the drive with me one time from Georgia to Kentucky. But Age of Sigmar, 40K, and all my like collectors and 30K stuff are on the bottom shelf there. Again, that's my army. Oh, and in that box is a squad of McFarlane Primaris Marines. Yeah, I went a little overboard there, but I'll do something cool with them one of these days. Again, the Closet of Shame. So there's obviously some box stuff there on the bottom. On the right side, we've got the Siege of the Citadel, which is a Kickstarter that just showed up from Modiphius about a month ago, a little more. Dungeons and Lasers. There's a whole bunch of terrain in there from the guys over at Archon Studios. Obviously, assembled miniatures in the Army Painter cardboard. And then a whole bunch of Age of Sigmar stuff. A few copies of Recon because, well, I need it. And then a whole bunch of random Games Workshop box stuff up there on top. Now, big changes are over here.
So I took out that stacked bookshelf and installed a wall shelf. That actually took a while. So putting all that stuff together, what I did is I bought a set off of Amazon of just the poles. And then I cut the PVC, I cut white PVC pipe, painted it black, specific to the distance between the poles because it looked like a bunch of water pipe and I wanted it to look different. So now it looks like one solid piece of pipe as opposed to a bunch of water pipe. But anyways, shelving was just plywood, cut to length, painted black, and then I installed LEDs underneath each one, with the exception of the third shelf. I took and flipped it over and put it up top because I didn't want visible LEDs to sit underneath the shelf. We've got Pandora's box, Kratos up there on top, the Blades of Chaos next to him, and then my favorite thing ever, the Barbarian from Diablo. Both of those models are sideshow models, by the way. Now the Diablo box is going to get replaced with a pedestal of some sorts. I'm thinking probably just a glossy black one to reflect the light, but haven't made any decisions yet. Need to go shopping. This is something I want to see in person as opposed to ordering online. I do have space under here. I'm actually going to put in a shelf that'll fit pretty much all the board games that I've worked on or board games that I play, which will all be miniature-based board games. The wall over there, I did a slat panel wall. Basically, I built a frame, bought some plastic, I don't know what you would call them. They're basically just 2 by 2, 24 by 24 plastic panels. As you can see, they have a nice little pattern. That's the word I'm looking for. They have a nice pattern. Every single one of those holes was hand cut because they are just solid. So I spent a lot of time cutting random holes, LEDs obviously behind them. The airbrush station, didn't see too much of a change. It did get an LED strip underneath it. That's about it. I do put my laptop in my chair when I'm painting to watch movies. There is my project board, which has spoilers on it. And then obviously my painting station. So the painting station, I changed it around a little bit, organized it a little more to where I could see my work in progress pile of shame. So what I've got going on right now, working on some old school Devourers for basically an ogre proxy army for Vanguard, which is a Kings of War skirmish game. Got some Tyrannobor dwarves over there right in front of my cherry vanilla Coke dwarf bust. Oh, those Tyrannobor dwarves. That is my ongoing army of Heish for Age of Sigmar 3 that is completely and utterly confrontation models. I got a whole bunch of work in progress stuff there on a pair of shelves, as you can see. Let me see, what else have we got going on? Some paintbrushes, great stuff by the team from Artis Opus. We talk about them all the time. Paints, and more paints. And then actually some stuff we're going to talk about here for Project SciFi Challenge in about, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. But that is the new hobby space. Oh, man, hold on a second. I almost forgot to show you the cool part. And that's when you kill the lights. So this is fun. My kids actually like this, which is amazing to me. But I can change the color of those lights at any time. And blue just kind of happens to sit well with me. I do like, there's an orange that's very, very pleasant, but not as calming. The blue seems just to have a nice calming effect on me. So when I'm painting, sometimes I'll do a little low light break time, kill the overhead light, and just sort of chilling, have a nice relaxing moment or two here in Hobby Central. All right, there's the new command center. Hope you like it. I do. All right. Man, I love me some cheesy Matthew McConaughey quotes. All right. I said that, right? Yeah, the 4 times. Man, I said it 4 times. Okay, where we're at right now. We are in a sky view overhead shot of like I said, my model agnostic version of the Sci-Fi Challenge. I'm not building anything specific here. I'm just building a bunch of old models that have been sitting around, well, these guys realistically in a box for a long, long time. So there's a project I worked on when I was at CMON called Sedition Wars. And it was something that I really, really enjoyed. Really had a good time with it. Was really sad that it didn't go farther than what it did. But like all things in gaming, some go far, some not so much. However, there are some really great models in Sedition Wars. And that's what all these guys are. These guys are all models from Sedition Wars, right? We have basic trooper models. We have some character models. We have some more character models. We have some heavy weapons. We're some crazy spy. I actually picked up a special weapon to start out with, but we have all sorts of stuff, right? And the great thing about these models is they're plastic, right? And a lot of people don't like them because they're the resin PVC Restic, like literally the first version of this stuff that was started to use for board and tabletop games. But it's still plastic, which means it's easy to cut up and convert. This guy is clearly a conversion. And, you know, with that, it's kind of an unlimited space of what you can do with these things. We've got big, heavy armored, right? That's Kara in her big ass armor. This little plastic bag over here is actually Kara in her normal armor. And they all came with bases that were textured, right? So I don't even have to do any base work for these guys. As you can see, all the bases have texture on them, and they're fun. So what's all this other stuff lying around? Well, this is actually terrain. It's resin. It's 3 pieces here. This is a set that I got from Secret Weapon Miniatures. Mr. J, I don't know if he still sells it or not, but it's a great little set. And this challenge is a good excuse to get some of this stuff painted. Got a few pieces. Obviously, these are from, well, I wouldn't say obviously. These are from the Miniature Building Authority. And they just have some silver primer on them, so they're essentially in that position. You know, green primer with some silver, orange primer with some silver, green primer on this bad boy. This is a piece, I don't think this is made anymore, but God, it was Rat something. I did a review on these a long time ago, so I figured I'd get them back out, start putting some paint on them, get them essentially done. I'm actually going to remove this seat. I don't like this here. I'm going to pull this seat off and put hand controls on there, and then it'll be kind of a stand-up tractor. But I also have a number of these, right? So what is this? This is the Tornado by Miniature Scenery. So I have 2 Tornadoes and 2 Zephyrs. If you guys haven't seen these, I think it's just miniaturescenery.com or miniature-scenery.com. But these things are outstandingly excellent, right? These were cut by Every Little War, I believe. Yeah, Every Little War, it's right there on the top. And here in America, so they kind of do this thing where, so I don't have to, or well, you as a consumer don't have to pay that hefty shipping fee for stuff in Australia or even stuff in Europe. They have a bunch of contracts there, Every Little War, with various laser cut vendors, and they do all of their laser cutting in the US, so it's domestic pricing. It's really kind of sweet. But I mean, that's really kind of where I'm at with this. There's not a whole lot here. There's 4 of us total in the Sci-Fi Painting Challenge. Right, as I said, it's set up so we have units, characters, vehicles, and walkers or behemoths. You know, and a behemoth could be something along the lines of, say, like a Knight Titan in 40K. While it's a walker, it's a little bit bigger than a dreadnought, and walkers technically are about dreadnought size. The units, right, we have an establishment of 5-man unit is so many points, a 10-man unit is so many points. Characters are characters, vehicles are vehicles, walkers are walkers, behemoths are behemoths. It's a pretty simple system. It's a point breakdown for each one of those things. Like I said, the person who gets the most painted inside of a specific time period gets a bonus set of points. right? So you can essentially accumulate more points over time. And as I said in the intro, it was a simple $25 buy-in. What does that mean? Well, at the end of the competition, the end of the challenge, whoever has the most points basically gets kind of a $100 gift card to buy more hobby stuff, right? Whatever the hell they want. And that really is where we're at with this. I've got a couple more units I want to put down. They're not actually from Sedition Wars. A couple more characters that I want to throw into this, also not from Sedition Wars. But I mean, as it stands, I've got two big, utility guys. They're not really walkers. They're more, tactical dreadnought size or Terminator size guys, right? I've got 3 of those. These are both characters. However, this guy is the same as this guy, but we don't have to talk about that right now. But again, as I said, I've got a couple more units of things I want to throw in. I've got a paint scheme in mind. I'm going to do kind of an olive green with some drab gray, and well, throw in probably a little bit of, I don't want to say like deep gray, but kind of darker gray leaning towards black. Give them kind of a urban ops look, so to speak. With that, man, I don't have much more to say about this, but quick overview. Like I said, going to be a short one today. Want to get you guys kind of, well, not you guys. Want to get myself just warmed up and back into the flow of putting together some content. So with that, we're going to hit that wrap. Oh, and the wrap. As I said, quick one today, guys. Kind of like the last one, right? It takes a little bit for me to get back into the groove of this content creation, that is. Just mainly due to the fact that I'm a one-take kind of guy. I push the record button and then just fire off the hip. So, with that being said, yeah, I'm a little rusty. It'll take me a little while to get kind of back into feeling the spark. I'll just leave it at that. So the SciFi challenge. Like I said, got a bunch of guys that I know personally, right? Everybody that's in the SciFi challenge is a personal friend of mine. We just happen to be all over the country. We got a guy doing something for 40K. We got a guy doing, I think, something for Infinity. We got a guy doing something for no reason whatsoever. And I don't remember what Chris is doing. But anyways, the simple fact is it's a good way to get some hobby done. Because, right, we'll get online, I don't know, maybe like a Thursday night and have a hobby hangout, so to speak. I call them sit reps, where we just sit down, Google Hangout or whatever, chat and paint, and push each other to get things done. Now, again, I showed you a bunch of random stuff that just kind of cobbled together for no reason whatsoever. But there are plenty of games that are coming out. Like, where's it at? I just bought it. It has disappeared. Maybe it's in the other room. It could be in my office. Like Rain in Hell. Rain in Hell? Yeah, Rain in Hell by Vince and Adam. 2 dudes that the hobby industry knows fairly well, right? Adam Loper and Vincent Venturella. I think that's how you say his last name. Vince, I'm sorry if I killed it. But they got together, collaborated, wrote a book, and it seems to be taking off kind of like wildfire. People are playing it, having fun, printing out models, STLs, or pulling some stuff from old games, right? I got a number of Eldorado models that I'll probably throw into a little warband and play and have some fun with it. But things like Zone Raiders, right? I mean, this is way more than what's needed for Zone Raiders, but that's just another example. Model agnostic games where you can just take whatever you want to, throw it on the table, roll some dice, and have some fun. But in this case, there's a challenge, there's a purpose behind it. And as I explained before, there's 4 of us, right? We each got a different thing that we're doing. However, because we can categorize, make simple categories, we can essentially score points, build off of that timeline. Again, I've got to reset the timeline. There was one, and we all failed to achieve anything before I ended up moving because the timeline was really short and really tight and kind of unrealistic. But we've got plenty of time now. Like I said, I'll get the guys back together. We'll get this project started back up. We'll show some progress. Next episode, however, we're going to take a look at my Chaos project, which is super themed and super cool and super fun.
for Age of Sigmar 3. Kind of excited for that one. Anyways, with that, I challenge you guys to grab some friends. Start up a fantasy or a sci-fi challenge. Start up a game system challenge, right? Get some hobby done. For those of you who just love to play games, well, play some games. But with that, I am done for this episode. So we will see you guys in 2. It's been a while, it's been a while, it's been a while. Still got the hammer. Still got models. Still got a camera. Whole new backdrop. Oh, alright, let's see Oz live. 3, 2, 1, go.